My name is Amardeep, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about VLOOKUP function with approximate match. Now, there is a different video on VLOOKUP function which I've recorded and shared earlier, and over there I had already spoken about the basic concept of VLOOKUP function as to how we could use that. In this particular video, you would notice an additional feature of VLOOKUP function. Now, in order to explain that, let me first walk you through with the case question that I have here. As you can see on the screen, we have a table over here which mentions quantity ordered in one column and discount percentage in the other column. Now over here, as you can notice that if somebody is going to place an order for less than 100 units, then the person wouldn't be eligible for any discount. However, if the same person orders 100 or more units but less than 500 units, then the company would offer him 10% discount. And then this discount percentage keeps on increasing as and when you order more and more units of the product. So as you can notice over here, if somebody is going to order 500 or more units but less than 1000 units, so we would offer 20% discount. For 1000 or more but less than 10,000, we would offer 30%. And somebody who orders 10,000 units or more, that person would be eligible for 40% discount. Now, what I need to do over here, I need to mention a particular quantity over here as an input number, which the particular person would be ordering. And on the basis of that particular quantity ordered by the individual, we need to find out the applicable discount percentage over here in this cell B11. Okay. Now you could look at this particular case in a way that we are trying to do a lookup on the quantity, because whatever quantity the person will order, we would need to go back to this original slab that we have at the top, and on the basis of this slab we would need to decide what is the kind of discount percentage offered to the customer. Okay. Now, the problem with this table is if you look at the first column, quantity ordered, we don't have numeric values mentioned over here. I mean, we do have 100, 500, 1000 mentioned over here, but Excel doesn't treat all of these values as numeric because there are certain text values as well. And the moment you have text values along with numeric values, this cell would no longer be treated to include a numeric value. So what we need to do first of all to begin with, we need to look for, let's say, 150 in this particular table. But in this table, in the first column, I've got text values, and VLOOKUP cannot do a lookup on the text value if you are going to look for a numeric value out here. So the first stuff that we need to do over here is we need to put the relevant quantity as a number in the second column over here, so that we could use that and refer to this column for the purpose of lookup. So all of these terms like less than, and, more, greater than, equal to, all of these things we need to remove and just mention numeric values over here in the second column. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the first one is less than 100. So this is going to start with 0. Then we have 100 or more but less than 500. My second slab is going to begin with 100 units. Similarly, the third one is going to begin with 500. The fourth one will begin with 1000 units or more. And finally, we would have 10,000 units mentioned over here at the end. Now, how this table is going to be read and interpreted. If you look at particular column, let's say this one in this case, and corresponding to this you have the discount percentage. If somebody is going to order a quantity which is exactly 500 units, then we do have a lookup for 500 over here, and the 20% would be given as a result. But if somebody is going to order, let's say, 450 units, then we do not have 450 units mentioned over here. Like over here at the bottom, you can notice I've mentioned 150 units as the quantity to be ordered. And if you're going to look for 150 in this particular table, we do not have an exact match of 150 units, isn't it? So what do we need to do over here? We need to first of all understand how this table needs to be understood. We need to see how somebody is going to interpret this particular table. So the way this table is going to work is that if 150 is found in this table, well and good. If 150 is not found, then we need to look for a number which is just less than 150. So Over here we don't have 150. So I'm going to look for a number which is just less than 150, and in this case it is 100. So VLOOKUP function will look for a number which is just less than the lookup value if that lookup value is not present in the table. Okay, because how this table is being interpreted, this 100 means 100 or more, but at the same time the next one is 500, so this automatically indicates 500 or more. So if 500 or more is coming over here, then it is automatically understood that something which is less than 500 needs to be included in this particular record, isn't it? So if you read a particular row, then you cannot read it in isolation. You would need to refer to the number in the next row as well, so that you can make better sense out of it. Because in isolation, if you look at a particular number, then this is 100 or more. But the moment you go to the next row, you would notice 500 is mentioned. This 100 or more automatically becomes 100 or more but less than 500. Okay. Now let me take one more point over here. So let's say you were looking at this particular row, which is the fifth row in this table, wherein we have 10,000 units mentioned. So this would mean 10,000 units or more, but less than the number given in the next row. Now in this case, I do not have anything in the next row. So this 10,000 would automatically indicate everything which is 10,000 units or more. So that's how it is going to be read. Okay. So what we need to do now, we need to go over here and put the VLOOKUP function. Before I put that VLOOKUP function, let me just write the syntax of VLOOKUP function over here. So the syntax of VLOOKUP function is, you need to mention VLOOKUP and then first of all give the lookup value, which in our particular example is 150 units given in cell B10. Then you need to give a reference to the table array. Table array basically indicates the original table wherein the result is included and also the lookup value is included, which in our case would be the column B to C starting from row number 3 and going up to row number 8. The next one is column index number. Column index number indicates the column number wherein the resultant value is included. And finally, we have range lookup. And this is the new topic that I'm going to talk about now, because under the range lookup, you can have, under the range lookup, you can have either true or you could have false. And in Excel, true indicates approximate match and false indicates exact match if you are reading true and false with respect to the VLOOKUP function, right? So these Boolean values, true and false, would indicate an approximate match or an exact match depending on the value that you're going to provide in the VLOOKUP formula. And one more point just to repeat that over here, that it is your choice whether you would like to mention true and false or you would like to mention 1 and 0. So I can also press or enter 1 in the formula to refer to true, and I can mention 0 in the formula to refer to false. Okay. So let's come to the cell over here wherein we need to put the formula. So I'm going to write equal to VLOOKUP. First parameter over here is the lookup value, which in our case is 150 given in the cell B10. So I've given reference to that, comma. The second one is table array. In this case, the table array is given over here starting from B3 to C8. Over here, I've kind of started from the row number 3, including the headers. But if you would like to skip that, you can do that as well. And instead of that, you can start with B4 and then select up to C8. So that's also fine. Comma, column index number. This table, if you notice that we have selected, we are kind of starting with column B and we are going up to column C. So in this selected table, the first column is quantity and the second column is discount. And the resultant value that we are looking for in the current example is the discount percentage. And that discount percentage in this selected table is given in the second column. So my column index number input would be 2 in this particular example. Okay. So now we are in the fourth parameter, which is range lookup, which can be either true or false. And as I discussed earlier, that for true we can mention 1 and for false we can mention 0. So I prefer to use the numeric value because that tends to be a little shorter. And in this particular case, I cannot select exact match because we have a slab with which we are working. If you're trying to look for 150 units, then you wouldn't find it in the original table because it's not present. Okay. So here we are looking for an approximate match. So our range lookup input would be 1, which is basically true, so that we can refer to an approximate match over here. Okay. Now don't go by the literal term that it is going to be an approximate match. Even for 490 units, the approximate match would refer to 100 units, because the way it works is that when you mention 490 and you look for 490 here, VLOOKUP wouldn't find 490. So it is going to look for a value which is just less than 490. So it is not literally an approximate match. It is basically a match which is just less than the lookup value. So that 490 units would also refer to the record number 2, which has 100 written over here in the column B. And that's what we are looking for, isn't it? That's how we need to read this particular slab. Okay. So let's press enter and see the result over here. And it should ideally be 10%. That's what we see over here. Okay. So let me just show the formula on the right hand side for the easy reference. So the formula over here is equal to VLOOKUP B10, which is our lookup value, B3 to C8, which is our table array, column index number as 2, because in the selected table, the second column has got the resultant value, and finally the range lookup as 1, because we are doing an approximate match. Okay, so that's how VLOOKUP with an approximate match would work. And many a times you would typically use this kind of concept when you are going to work with a range which follows a certain slab. And that's where this concept of VLOOKUP with approximate match would be useful. Okay. So I hope you have got the gist of this particular VLOOKUP function with an approximate match. And I hope you enjoyed this video and got the overall understanding of this. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.